Also, you were talking about, you had an idea what bills were going to look like, or whatever could be passed next week. Can you give us an idea of what that looks, and everybody kind of, you know, get a little bit defensive and maybe we give away too much because we're still getting worked out, but it's just us.
Well, I don't think they're going to be requiring insurance coverage, because that was something, and they're not going to be sending out public lists of people that own guns or do not own guns. They probably won't go backward in time because that causes problems that would be forward. However, you may see something that says that you are to disclose whether you had something before or after in a way that's not public, so that there's a line to be drawn prior to the law versus going into the future. There will probably be universal background checks. There will be much stronger storage laws. They probably will look to the fact of mental illness. If you've ever, I went to find out how you apply for a permit and gun permit. They will probably look to make sure that there's a longer time horizon, that they look back if you've been hospitalized for a serious mental illness.
They're probably going to raise the age too, in certain.
Yes, raise the age probably to 21. So some of these things will be done, and also have more equalized type of permitting process for long guns and the smaller.
They're going to do an eligibility certificate probably for long guns.
This is what I'm sensing. Yeah. I can't tell you.
There's no, listen, the bottom line is none of us here know. Like I said earlier, the wheels are off the wagon. This is being negotiated now at a different level. We get senses by what we hear coming out that we know kind of what they're talking about. A lot of the things that went into the process, like they're talking about universal background checks, eligibility certificates, even some of those have loopholes, which I don't know if will be removed. One of the loopholes with universal background checks was, well, you don't have to do a background check if you transfer it to a family member. Duh. That's something we got to fix. But there's a lot of things that are coming that we don't know yet. The real question is, what are they going to do about assault weapons and magazines? We don't know, because now I think it's very likely, because they're putting it all in one bill, that they'll have a prospective ban on, I would say, increasing the definition of the assault weapon to where the pistol grip is and all sorts of stuff. That's pretty likely right now what we're hearing. And some sort of magazine ban. But we don't know exactly if it's prospective, if they're going to come after them. We don't even know how it's going to handle pistols yet, handguns. So those are all a lot of issues.
Did anybody ask the question about assisted suicide? That's another very controversial bill. Was that brought up earlier?
No, but I think everybody wanted to talk about that. We had him, and then with a couple more.
I keep hearing in regards to 10-round magazines, if it saves one life. But what about in a legitimate self-defense case? You have multiple home invaders come in.
Yeah.
If I have 10 rounds and there's 3 people, what happens? And people laugh, I hear it, but it's a legitimate thing.
Listen, I understand that. I've been very public that I've had issues with the handgun magazine limitations for that reason. It's very difficult for somebody to be at home in a defensive situation. All of a sudden somebody comes in or what, and now you're worried about reloading. I think they're looking at that, and they'll probably something where if you're home you can have your magazine. If you're at the range, maybe you carry. I know it's been addressed. Originally, those two issues bifurcated. Now they're back. They're talking about it.
As a little bit of a follow-up, what about castle law? Connecticut.
Nobody's been talking about it.
Like, Connecticut's very restrictive about if in a self-defense case when you can shoot somebody in a legitimate case or not. And if gun owners are giving up all these rights, I think they should get some at the same time. And the other part of that is early release. We release.
Well,
yes,
that's a huge question.
We don't prosecute 70% of gun crimes. They drop the gun charge 70% of the time.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, that is very good. Actually, that may be one of the pieces in there that will surprise everybody.
Because that's what we've insisted on. We've insisted on it. It's like, wait a second, if we're going to start vilifying law-abiding citizens, why the hell are we letting out?
We're being kicked out. We're being kicked out, guys.
This gentleman's had his hand up for 20 minutes. As we stand, we'll listen.
Last question, though.
There's been, as everyone knows, this rapacious drive to undermine the Second Amendment.
Sorry, does everyone really know that? I mean, it seems to me the Second Amendment doesn't belong to
Saul, let him ask his question. Saul, let him ask his question.
I'll repeat it. While there's this rapacious drive to undermine the Second Amendment, at the same time, the federal government and Homeland Security under Janet Napolitano has purchased 300 billion rounds. That's 300 billion rounds of ammunition. That's enough for a 20-year war. that how many people in this room know anything about that. That was in Forbes magazine, and it's been in several other publications. Now I ask you, what is Homeland Security doing with 300 billion rounds, many of which are going to departments which have no business having those rounds, including the Internal Revenue Service? So I put that out there for you to consider, ask questions about, and look into in your spare time.
It's something that our congressional delegation should probably, be asked, if that's a
You really wanna go
concern.
home?
Before we knock it off here, I want to take a minute.
Wants to go home.
Yeah,
The
and-
library closed at 8 o'clock
Right.
at first.
Yeah, she's
Already
staying late.
staying over.
Listen, we need to make sure we thank our hosts,
Yes, thank
with
you.
the library and
Thank you all for coming out. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Thank the League of Women Voters who's gonna set this up. We look forward to that.
Okay.
I like cookies.